Name is Jennifer, and my mental health diagnosis was depression, anxiety, and when I was in the mental hospital, they diagnosed me with paranoia. Well, I remember in my early teens, I started to feel very alone, very sad. So the symptoms of the depression started, happening. And it wasn't until my late 20s when I was diagnosed. And yeah, it made a lot of sense looking back on everything that I've experienced because I feel like I've had it for a long time. And it wasn't until I got the professional help that I was able to understand it. It was relieving. It was a relief because dealing with it at home with parents who didn't understand it, it was painful because I was just told to let it go, suck it up, like you're not depressed, you're just tired, you're just lazy, you're not doing anything with your life. If you're feeling that way, like get busy, do something productive. And once therapist broke it down and explained to me what it was, I felt a relief, like I said, and it put into perspective like why I was feeling certain things. That it wasn't my fault, that it wasn't me being lazy, it was actually like mental. So growing up, I was raised with a single mom. My parents were divorced when I would say like around kindergarten. So I did have that family, of like both parents in the house, but it changed. Like, and I remember feeling really sad about it. But I also grew up in a Mexican household, and just having my mom, stepping up as a single mom, providing for her kids and working really hard. And when I would open up to her about feeling sad or depressed, or like even like the thoughts of like, Mom, I'm having, suicidal thoughts. I don't understand why I just don't have energy for certain things or why I feel so down on myself. She would say that I was not being productive, that I was being lazy or thinking too much, and her solution was to, get a job or, stay busy. Those things do help, but just, I think the thought of having a daughter struggling with those things maybe made her feel like she wasn't a good enough mom. Yeah. So I remember it started like in ninth grade. So it was just that transition from like middle school to high school. And it hit me so hard, and I kind of dwelled in it because I remember like I would just get home from school. I would stay in bed, not want to talk to anybody. My mom worked a lot of hours. I think she had like night shifts at the time, and she would get off in the morning and take me to school. And there'd be times where I wasn't ready. She would like get upset that I didn't want to go to school. She would force me to go. In school, I felt like I was just out of it mentally. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I felt invisible and sad, and it reflected definitely. I did have a few people in school who cared. I remember like people would ask me like if I was okay. Sorry. I had really good teachers. Really good teachers. Um, So I remember like certain teachers like would take me out of class and ask me if everything was okay at home. And I just remember, not an excuse, but my reasoning was like, my dad. Like, and I think it goes back to the divorce of just like, like I wish my dad was here, or I feel so alone. Like I don't understand. I wouldn't understand what I was feeling. I would tell my mom, I don't know what's happening. I don't know why I feel this way. I don't know why I feel so alone and when I have, everything I need. And that's something that she would bring up too. Like, I give you everything. You're not missing anything. You're healthy. You do good in school. And then fast forward a few years, I graduated university. I have my degrees, and that was something that my mom was kind of confused about when that depression came back in my late 20s. She said, like, you have everything you need. You have your degrees. you're healthy, and it was almost like I shouldn't feel what I feel because of all my accomplishments. That led to me trying to find validation in my accomplishments and what people like thought about me because of the cool things I've gotten to do. Yeah, it hurts when parents don't understand or try to understand. Like at the time, also, like that was high school, but we can fast forward like a few years because eventually it did get better, and I found that my hope and my faith in God helped because that was like freshman year was really bad, sophomore year, and then junior year things turned around. Senior year I was able to finish strong, and I got accepted into university. Like I accomplished my goals. I graduated, and so life was good. Like from like 18 until like 24, 23, like things are good, and um I got into some relationships, and at one point I was even engaged, and just ending all that because it wasn't for me. I decided to end that relationship, and I just got really depressed after. And it came back. It felt like this heaviness that came back like 10 years later. And that's when I sought therapy, and I was living with my dad at the time, and he was also very confused like why I was feeling that. He tried to help me, but he didn't know how. When I first started therapy, it was during COVID, and I found online therapy. So that's how it started, just online video calls. It was a really great therapist, and he helped me understand a lot of things, and he also shared the same faith as me, so that was really helpful, and that kind of helped me get back on like my relationship with God and my faith. And since it was online, like it helped, but I don't think I took it all the way seriously because I was still doing things that weren't helping my mental health. And I was living with my dad at the time, and I did that therapy for a few months. And then a few months later, I think I moved back in with my mom, and things got kind of, mentally bad again. And then I got another therapist in person. That was helpful, but that's when I started to feel just like I was going crazy. Like I didn't understand. Like I was like feeling so much anxiousness. My thoughts would race all the time. Um, I wouldn't complete tasks. I just wanted to quit. Like I would not accomplish things, and I would just like go into my own little shell and like just not want to get out of bed. I think certain things would trigger me to where I just felt so alone, and I didn't want to talk to anybody because I thought people thought I was going crazy. And then my mom wasn't very helpful at the time. A lot of her words were very emotionally abusive, and that just made things worse. And things are good now with her. Um, Definitely had to, keep going to therapy, and I was in therapy, and then an incident happened in 2022 where it was the lowest, the most depressing I've ever had. Like the depression, I was in bed for weeks. I stopped working. I was a teacher at the time, substituting. I just stopped taking assignments. I stayed in bed for months. My mom was understanding to a certain point because she just like saw me, but she didn't help me with it. But she provided the home, the food. Like I was in her home, And it got so bad around my birthday, and I remember like making plans to like commit suicide. Like, and I knew that wasn't the way out. I didn't want to do it. It just felt so heavy. I was like, I'm done. Like, and what ended up happening was the day that I planned to take my life, that day there was a house fire in my family, and that kind of forced me out of bed. And I was so shocked and confused and angry because my plan wasn't going to happen. Because now our home opened up to that family member and his family, and I was just mad. And that was also a blessing in disguise because I had a breakdown, and I was panicking and just yelling. And I opened up to my brother, and I said like I don't want to live anymore. I'm tired of everything, like, and just break down, and I'm grateful for him. And that day, he said, well, I'm not going to let you go through this. Like, I'm going to take you and get some help. I'm taking you to the hospital, and I don't know what's going to happen, but they're going to help you. And so at that point, I didn't care. I was just like, yeah, whatever. Like, sure, I'll go with you to the hospital. I'm tired. Like, my parents aren't helping me. I feel alone. Everything I do, like, not worth it. At the time, I thought to myself, I have nothing to live for. I'm single. I have no kids. My job is there, but I'm not even showing up. I have no bills. Like, I had nothing. Like, for me at the time, life didn't matter because I didn't have anything exciting to wake up to. And I know that sounds silly, but like, I wanted so much for myself at one point, and to lose that hope, to lose those dreams, like, it makes life like feel worthless. Like, it made me feel like I let everybody down. The only thing that I feel that my mom is proud of is my degrees. That's what it felt like. I felt that she loved me, but it was just hard at the time because there was a lot of emotional, verbal abuse. And I know she didn't mean to, but it hurt me. And so my brother that day took me to the mental hospital. It was like a couple of days after my birthday. And like at that time, I didn't want to live past that birthday. But just the house fire happening on my birthday, and then a few days later, just having more people in my mom's house, I just had a breakdown. Like, I couldn't handle it. I felt like I couldn't help. 'Cause they leaned on me a lot too at the time to help, and I was like, I can't. And my mom, was just upset with me because she thought I was probably faking it or something. I don't know. My brother drives me to the mental hospital. They 5150'd me. And I was under observation for 3 days. And during that time, that's when I just felt like I was done. Like, it didn't really help me, but it did. But I did have a few staff members there in the hospital that were very kind. And I think in that moment of not wanting to get transferred to a different location, I almost forced myself to like lean on what I knew was my hope, which was God. And I asked for a Bible, and I just started reading it like my second day there, my third day. And I was like, I just want to go home. Like, can you guys just like, I'm doing so much better. I would lie. I was like, I'm doing so good. I don't feel anything like, well, and they'd be like confused because I'd be like, one day I was saying I was so depressed, and then I saw how the system kind of worked, at least where I was at. Like, if I didn't get better, they were going to send me somewhere else because they didn't understand. Like how I would explain things. I felt I was going crazy, and that's when they diagnosed me with paranoia just based on like the exams that they took. And so I was freaking out. I'm like, no. At the time, my brother was moving back to Oregon. I was like, I don't want to miss saying bye to him. Like, I want to get out of here now. And so I was able to get released after my third day. But man, it was just like, it was heavy. Like, I was in like a fifth floor, no windows, no mirror. Like not my clothes. Like, I was wearing like hospital clothes, socks, like being under surveillance 24/7. I couldn't sleep. But I'm grateful because I did get the help, and he placed me with the therapist after, and they kept up with me, like just checking in. But that was an eye opener that I never want to go back to. And that's when I was like, this is like, my life matters. Like, it really does. And I'm going to get the help I need. And I just started seeking after God. I knew God, and I was like, I tried everything else, and nothing satisfied my life. And at least knowing that you are real and that you got me out of this and that I have good family, like, I'm just going to go full on. Like, God help me. And that was in the summer of 2022. And a few months later, things got better. I started working again. And then, yeah, like, I want to say, like, that was summer. And then the end of 2022, the beginning of 2023, I found a really good church. I found a girl on YouTube that was sharing her testimony. And she went to this church that I now go to, and my life completely changed. It's been over like almost a year since that, year and a half, and I mean, life is precious, and um I'm so grateful for the people that have helped me, and I never want to take for granted again, like, just life. My family, like, how my brother cared enough to take me to the hospital. Like, if it wasn't for that, I don't know where I'd be, because I probably would have been dead. I mean, or maybe not. I probably would have failed at that attempt, but I'm glad I didn't attempt. I'm glad that I'm alive. And life is only getting better. Your life matters. You're so valuable. And everything you feel is valid. You're not going crazy. Um, there is help and there is hope, and never feel that you're the only one in the world going through it, because you're not. And you are so loved. I think I said that already, but you're so loved. Like, even if you don't believe it, like, just know that it's true. Like, you are so loved.